Just 3 weeks to go until Telford. Where is the year going? Welcome to this week's Table Talk. Hello everyone, welcome to Table Talk, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason, and if you're one of the over 400 new subscribers I've had in the last month, a massive welcome to you, welcome to the channel. I'm sure there'll be things in here you'll be interested in. This video, we do it every Saturday and we talk about what's going on, what's happened, what's about to happen, longer term plans, and it's also an opportunity for you to get involved from time to time in what we're doing. It's always great to hear from you. You can put stuff in the comments, we can have a conversation, and you can also email me if you've got any questions or things you need to share. You can do that, modelkitstuff@gmail.com. I get quite a few emails, so actually your quickest way of getting a response is in the chat, and everyone else gets to see it as well, but obviously that doesn't always work depending on what you want to do. Well, not long to go now till Telford, and I need to get doing some prepping and what have you. We'll perhaps talk a little bit about that later on. Been an interesting week. It's the first week as we pull away from the 10,000 subscriber takeover, which I certainly enjoyed, but we ended that with Sunday's live stream. I haven't done a live stream for a while, and it's the first time I'd done a live stream with my new camera. So that was on the new 4K camera, although the streaming software wouldn't allow me to go 4K because you have to pay for it at a certain level. So that's why I was a bit fuzzy. But yeah, we did it on the new 4K camcorder. It worked like a dream. Had me good quality microphone. So all in all, not bad. And I was able to watch it on my computer in front of me. I need to think about how I do that differently in the future so that I'm looking more at the camera a bit more. There's always something you can improve, isn't there? But yeah, that was the first thing that kicked off this week, the live stream on Sunday, and we covered a lot of ground in there. We talked about what next year's group builds would look like, and I wasn't sure whether we were going to pull off a decision or not, but we absolutely did. I said to myself, if we've not done it in an hour and a half, then I'll just go away and take what I've got and finish it off in a poll or something like that. But no, we managed to do it. So for those of you that weren't on the live stream but are watching this, I can give you a sneak peek into what is coming up next year, because we have 2 group builds next year. It'll be the first time I've done 2 group builds in a year. And for those of you that like things that float, you're going to be happy, because I'm going to be kicking off on New Year's Day, the first of the 2025 group builds, and that will be running until about the middle of December to allow me to put up, collect everyone's completed models and put together a showcase video. So the theme for the first group build, which will run pretty much the full length of 2025, is things that float. So that gives you a whole massive spectrum of creativity, from the obvious things that float to flying planes, float planes, to, you know, a stranded car floating down a stream, a cat in a bucket, you know, anything, as long as there's a visible, obvious connection to it floats. Other than that, there is no rules. We'll talk about the rules a little bit more formally when I kick it off on the first, but the basic idea is you can build anything within that theme, and your only real rule is you've got to finish it before the closing date. So you could take a shelf queen that you've already started and use it as the group build as an excuse to finish it off. And I'm doing that deliberately so that if you've got a big ship build that you've been working on for 2-3 years even, and you're just going to bring it to a close in 2025, you can put that into the group build. So the idea is to make it accessible to people that build ships, because whenever people are talking about group builds and someone says, what about a ship? Everyone goes, no, you can't do that. That's not feasible. Well, let's make it feasible. Anything's possible if you try hard enough. So we're going to have a group build that's going to allow anybody who likes building ships to get involved. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Right, second group build. That's the one we decided on the live stream. So we ended up, I'm a bit surprised where we ended up going on this. We started out with all sorts of ideas bouncing around, and then we narrowed it pretty much down to 2. And yeah, all I can say is you guys have chosen this. I'm fine with it, but I go back to earlier this year where I did a little survey of what people like to build. What were their premium things that they like to build. So I build all sorts of stuff, but if you press me, I'd say I was a ship modeler first, but I'll also do sci-fi, aircraft, tanks, trucks, figures, wooden stuff, you know. Turn my hand to anything. If it needs building, I'll have a go. Unless it's 1-to-1 scale, i.e. DIY, in which case I'm not interested and I'm not good at it as a result of not being interested. But when I did that survey, only about 5% of my subscribers at that time principally built classic kits. So it may be that all of you build classic kits from time to time, but you all build newer releases of your chosen subject. I don't know. Aircraft was the principal one, and not far behind it was ships. But then I did a classic build, and it drew less interest than my ordinary sort of more recent release kit builds. So it sort of didn't make sense. But anyway, you've chosen to do a classic build for the second group build. And that'll probably run from March. I think that's what we agreed in the live stream. So starting in March, we agreed 7 months. So that's 6 months plus a month's breathing space for school holidays and summer holidays and stuff. Because I know some people stop building and that time of year. But that allows us to stagger the 2 group builds. I'm going to run them in a different way anyway. So the year-long one will be run through Table Talk, and the other one will do some more specific videos around it, I think. But yeah, so it will be a classic kit that has to be originally tooled prior to the 31st of December 1989. You will not be allowed to use any aftermarket whatsoever other than decals. Outside of that, you've pretty much got free reign. So subject matter could be anything. I could do my Matchbox motorbike, for example, the Black Shadow. I could do that. I could do last week's Anne Boleyn. I've got a number of Matchbox kits I could do, but got 7 months, so I'd like it to be a bit larger and special. I've got some Hella ships that might be possible. I got all sorts of bits and pieces I could do. Most of my Airfix tall ships would fall into that, so I don't think I have to go out and buy anything particular for the group build. But if you want to get involved in either of those group builds and you think you've not got something for it, now's the time to be thinking. something that floats and a classic kit that has to be pre 31st of December 1989. And away you go. So there you go, that's what we decided in that Sunday live stream. Then we had Monday, we had, I think it was part 20 of the Endeavour build, and that got you all the metal fittings on there. I think you're going to focus on the mast next, whereas I have just got, I'm looking up there for it, but it's actually in the living room now because with the mast on, she's too tall for my top of my racking. So I have just got sails and rigging left to do on her, which I'll do some of that on Saturday, I think. Anyway, that was our Monday video, and that, you know, it's one of those slow burn ones, so it does an average view, and then over a month or two it just gradually slows. It's a strong average video. There's not huge interest like, you know, when I do a first impressions of a kit that came out a couple of days ago. You expect to get a fair few people watching that, but one of my best performing kits has been the Indefatigable, which we didn't really talk about, did we, after having done that first impressions video, maybe because it was on the Sunday, but yeah, I'm hoping that Chris has sold a few of those as a result. He certainly had 10 in stock when the video went out, but I have got a lot of new subscribers off the back of that video, so again, welcome. We do, going forward, we'll always have something going on with wooden shipbuilding. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, as you can see. So yeah, the Indefatigable video was a really good video, and I enjoyed doing it, and it's a pleasure just to leaf through that instruction manual. So yeah, that was Monday with our Amati Endeavour, and that's slowly coming to a close now. The format will have to change a little bit because I've sort of done one step per video, but I might not be able to do that when we do rigging and sails. I might do preparation of the sails as one video, and then the rigging might have to be broken down across several, and we might have to do rigging continued, rigging completed, something like that. Don't really know. We'll see how it pans out. There's more rigging than you think, but still not a lot of rigging, and it can be more time consuming than you think, you know, getting the knots right and what have you. Although I'm gonna do it sort of basic knots and just do it in a speedy way, rather than doing it accurately, because it's modern. I have less knowledge of that, but when we come to do the Sherborne, we'll be trying to get every knot accurate as to how it would have been on the original ship, which will be interesting for you beginners out there. Right then, so that was Monday. Then Wednesday we had the Airfix Tomahawk. It's just annoying. What disappoints me is it's simple little things that let the side down for Airfix from time to time. So, you know, they've done a number of re-releases this time of year. They know people are starting to return to their benches after summer recess, and they're releasing new kits as a result, and that's all fine. They've all been re-releases, but that particular one, you know, there's no way they released that originally with all that sinking and what have you. So, you know, that's the engine manufacturer not being bothered, and then no one quality checking it, or if they are quality checking it, they're not doing it robustly. And who's checking the checkers? Because, you know, it's clearly been delivered to Airfix and no one's checking in the boxes, and they're just being flung out. And What's annoying is if someone buys that model, they're not going to go back to it. If they've never bought an Airfix before, or they haven't bought one for a few years, and they buy that because the subject really talks to them, are they going to go back and buy another Airfix kit? I don't think they do themselves any favours. Just my view. You know, it is an older kit, but there's no way we were chucking kits out at that standard when that was originally tooled. That's my view anyway. So yeah, I always try and give an honest, balanced opinion, and most of what I said about that kit was really nice, but the sink and the really rough moulding of the wheels, not acceptable. Sorry, it's not. So yeah, there you go. I think that's perhaps why Airfix don't send me free kits to review like they do to some other channels, because you know, it's interesting, there are some channels out there that used to do nothing but slag Airfix off, and now they appear to get freebies from them. They've got nothing but good words to say about them, and I just won't do that. My integrity is important to me. Whether they send me stuff or not, my integrity is important to me, and I think that is helpful for you guys too, because I'm, you know, there's nothing. They send me stuff to promote their releases and things, but there's nothing in it for me. You know, I don't get paid. I don't get a thank you. I don't get anything. I just get an email saying we've just released this for immediate release. So, you know, unlike other channels, I don't even have a t-shirt. So at the end of the day, it's for me to decide what I want to put out and what I don't. But it is handy now I have a little news slot in Table Talk. But be reassured, when I do my reviews, even if I've not bought the kit, and most of the time I have, I'm always honest, because it's important to me. And you might not always share my view, but at the end of the day, it is just me sharing my view. But I also show you everything, so you can see for yourself what the plastic parts are like, what the instructions are like, what you get in the box, and make your own decision. You don't have to go and follow my view particularly. Right, and then that got us to Friday, and the third instalment of the tempo build. I don't have enough for another video, so that's my focus now, doing a bit on the tempo. Done a lot on the Scharnhorst. I wouldn't say I was particularly well ahead on the Scharnhorst either, though, to be honest. I'm still a little bit hand to mouth, and it didn't help with this weekend. But anyway, that is what happened last week. So that nicely links into what happened on the bench during last week. Well, in the week, I was in a pretty poor place. Today, as I record this, it's Wednesday lunchtime. It's bucketing down with rain, but it's quite mild. It's gone up to about 15, 16 degrees here today, but it's horrid and damp and miserable. So today is the first day since the end of July that I've been pain free. So I had problems with my ear, which for 3 weeks I was on antibiotics. They kept changing them, so completely annihilated me. I mean, taking antibiotics is like nuking your insides. It just kills everything. So I got quite run down in that process, really, and then it turned out that what they needed to do was treat it with an antifungal rather than antibiotics. So they completely decimated my my gut biome for no reason whatsoever, and it's taken 3 weeks for my ear to clear with that treatment as well. And then just as I do that, I break my tooth, and then I had, they couldn't save it. It had root canal on it anyway, so it was a dead tooth, and it lasted 10 years. But I broke my tooth, so then I had an extraction. So that was Tuesday a week ago. and that didn't heal particularly well. And I was really concerned I might get dry socket, and you really don't want that. I've not had it, and generally you don't. It's a top tooth, and generally you don't get it in the top row. It tends to be the lower row, and more common with wisdom teeth, I think. But yeah, I was back in the dentist's at 8:30 Monday morning because my weekend was miserable. I was in a lot of pain and discomfort. I try not to take ibuprofen because of I have to keep my eye on my blood pressure. So about 15 years ago I collapsed and was rushed into hospital, and it turned out to be blood pressure. I had a nosebleed that they couldn't stop, and they had to cauterise the inside of my nose, which it wasn't fun. And then they put these little bags in, and then they inflate them with water, and don't quite know what they do other than cause you immense pain. Everybody in Warrington Hospital knew I was having that done. I can tell you, everybody, because they struggled to put the deflated bag in one of my nostrils because my nostril was that closed, and they were using the smaller one. So it was a nightmare. So I've had blood pressure medication ever since, and I have reduced it right down, and actually hope to get off it this year. But because I have blood pressure medication, shouldn't take brufen too often really. I take it occasionally when I have a migraine, but I needed it this weekend. So every 4 hours I was on paracetamol and a brufen just to make the pain bearable, not to make it go away. I felt swollen, everything felt tight. So Monday morning, they were cleaning out the socket. They put some medication in, stuffed it with cotton wool, and I have some discomfort today, 2 days after that's been done, but I don't have the huge amount of pain that I had. So at the weekend I was not in a good place, and usually I do a little bit of wood modelling on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday I would do some plastic, and I should have done some tempo, but I wasn't in the mood for it, so I just did Sherborne. So both Saturday and Sunday. So we've completed the first planking, and we've got the keel on there, and we've got the prow on. We've also done some dry, we've got some parts on the back there, and we've done some dry fitting of other parts to make sure everything fits. So from the absolute beginner's video point of view, I've got a fair amount of material now for that, and we are nearly ready to start the second planking. I've just got to sand the transom plates in line with the curves, and then we are good. But yeah, so that's gone well, but it means I'm a bit behind on the tempo. But I'll be having my modelling night either tonight or tomorrow night, and I think we'll be doing tempo then. So we've got more stuff to do on the figure painting, but I think we're also at the point of putting of priming the tempo main vehicle as well, and priming the parts that make up the engine and front wheel assembly. So I'll be trying to do that over the next couple of nights, so which will then give me some material. The other thing I was doing at the weekend was I was also starting my process of cleaning all of this. Let me show you all of. Come on, camera, turn. Why didn't it want to turn? There we go. So all of my model stuff. The shelves are getting a bit grimy, so it all needs a good clean up. So that's what I was doing, and we concentrated actually on this area, and I've changed some things at the back, which is why you can see at the back I've got my Scharnhorst kit parts here. So if I take that out of the way, you'll see Scharnhorst is all laid up there ready to go. That's because I've brought my wooden kit building stuff down from the attic and shoved it in the back there. So it holds some of my tools and a lot of my spare parts. So I've got things like buckets, barrels, lots and lots of blocks that I haven't used and that sort of stuff all in there. A lot of it is Artesina Latina stuff from the days I was doing part works for them, and I've just got stuff left over, but I've also got bits of hardwood and all sorts of things that might be handy. You never know. So yeah, I brought all of that down and reorganised my scratch building stuff, slightly reorganised my desk space while I was at it, because everything came off, everything got a wash, surfaces got a clean, everything put back together. That was Sunday afternoon gone, really. So, stash ads. Right then, well, let's start with this, which isn't a stash ad, but in stash ads we'll talk about anything that you might be interested in. So this is the Vanguard Models paint set, and basically it's KA paints, and it's a nice little set. If I take the lid off, come on, there we go. What you've got is a set of paints like that, which all focus on 18th to early 19th century period ships. And I'm interested to look at the colour matches against my previous preferred paint range. And I think with a number of people venturing into wooden ship modelling with me, it's nice to talk about some of these things. So I got this so we can review it. I will use them on the Sherborne, and I'll probably release the review then. But they cover all the main colours that you would get on a major ship of the line, so a frigate or something like that, including the internal cabin colours. So yeah, it's not got, for me, it's not possibly got everything in there, but it's got all. That's 3 interruptions I've had so far whilst I'm recording this video. Everyone must know it's my lunchtime or something. That was the garage checking I'm coming tomorrow to have my car serviced. I've booked the appointment, why wouldn't I? Anyway, yeah, so I'll be interested to see how these stand up. They're AK 3rd gen paints. So, yeah, I'm going to be open-minded about it. But a nice presentation. And you can get these on his website, and we're gonna do a little series of visiting some of the websites that I use for period ships and things like that, which I think might be helpful for those of you new getting into this side of the hobby. So I got that. I did get some other stuff as well, but we'll save that for next week. Let's just get that out of the way. And my major stash ad, actually, is the Lady Eleanor, and she's quite important because she's the wooden kit we're going to build immediately after Sherborne. So you'll recall last week that I said I had a plan to build a number of kits which will take you through a progressed learning to get you from having never built a wooden ship to be able to tackle anything you want to tackle. So this is the next stage. So the reason why I've chosen this as the second kit in the beginner's building course is because firstly we've got sails, so that's something we've not done before. The hull shape is different and the planking behaves slightly differently as a result, so we'll have some new skills to learn in the planking. It's a bit more simple on the rigging, but actually this foremast here, we are turning that into a round mast from a bit of square wood. So even though this is a novice kit still, you need some new skills just to do that mast. So I thought it was the nice next progression from there. So the Sherborne is a novice kit, Lady Eleanor is a novice kit, and then after that we can move on to a beginner's kit. Yeah, so there's a fine line between them, but the kits I've chosen allow us to learn new skills gradually. So every time we build, we learn something new, and it'll also allow me to talk about different techniques, different tools. So we might introduce a power tool into this one, maybe, that we've not really used in Sherborne, and so on. So there's little things that we can do and build up your experience and skill set as we go. So this will be the second one. I notice, this is my new stash ad. So if you're wanting to build the Sherborne with me, and then you want to build on that and do another ship so that you've broadened your skill set, ready for something a little bit more complex, then you can build along with that. So there you go, that's pre-warning. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get Sherborne done, but she's come along quite nicely. Once we've got past the second planking, we'll be able to roar ahead with her until we get to rigging, where we'll slow down again. So yeah, a nice looking ship, something a bit different. It's not military. She's what's it say? 20th century 70-foot sailing fife. So the sort of thing you'd have seen around the Scottish coast at the turn of the century. So yeah, quite pretty. We're also going to have to do some dyeing of the sails and things like that. So currently, if you buy this kit, you do get some sails in it, but you can also get an improved set of sails that have a better look, superior quality, and I've opted for those ones. But yeah, you don't actually have to put the sails on either. So, right, the other thing that this will teach you, in addition to the Sherborne, is the more usual way of building, which is the instructions take you up to the point where you put the masts on, and then you're working from plans. So there'll be a bit more plan working. We are going to work from plans on Sherborne, but you'll be going solo a little bit more. So I think it's the perfect second kit. That's why I've chosen it. Not everything we're going to build in the series is going to be military, but yeah, we're gonna or English or whatever. We are gonna move around a little bit, but the kits I've mapped out are specifically chosen to keep building on your skills as we go. So there you go. That was my stash ad this week. I have been through it just to check the parts are all there and okay and what have you. Why is that not wanting to sit down? There we go. Something wrong there. There we go. So yeah, very nice. There's one or two things I'm going to do differently to this kit when we build it. We're going to vary off the instructions in a couple of places, but we'll talk all about that when we build it. Right then, modelling news. This is exciting. Who likes, put your hand up right now if you love the film Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. Definitely. It's up there in my top 10 films of all time. Absolutely love that film. So if you love that film and you would love to have a model of HMS Surprise, then I'm pleased to be able to announce to you that is the next new kit to come out of Vanguard Models. So yeah, I haven't seen any imagery on that, but that's the next one that he's going to be working on. Apparently he's had a number of requests for it. The kits, there are kits of Surprise around at the moment. They are interesting. I have a long-standing need to build a model of Surprise, and I haven't because I don't think the kits are up to it. And I had a view 15 years ago that once I built my skill set in building wooden kits, I'd have a go at scratch building one for myself. I've got pretty much all the equipment except for a scroll saw to be able to do it, but I don't have that skill set yet. I don't. so I've never done it, but now I don't need to, because Vanguard Models will be producing a surprise. So stay tuned to this to find out more about timelines and the development of that as we go. But I will be definitely getting it, and I will be definitely building it. So if you want one too, then stay tuned and I'll keep you up to date. Right, so that's news from Vanguard Models. In other news, we have some new releases from Airfix. So first of all, Airfix have re-released their 1/72 scale Tiger Moth, and it has new schemes. So I'm not quite sure. I think it's a 2013 tooling off the top of my head. It's a fairly decent kit is my understanding. I've not built that one myself. I built the 148 Tiger Moth. And the paint schemes for it are US Army, US Air Force and Royal Australian Navy. So yeah, interesting. Also released the Handley Page Hampden as a classic kit, originally tooled 1968, so would fit nicely into a certain group build I'll be holding next year. So yeah, 123 parts, so nice easy build, but every one of them will need special attention, I would imagine. So yeah, and it let's see, it will be used as the RAF's first bombing raid against Berlin in August 1940. So there you go. And that I think comes with just one paint scheme as per the box art. Hong Kong Models are going to be releasing a Mitchell in 1/48 scale this time. They've got one in 1/32. So yeah, just in time for end of year for Christmas shopping, I think, possibly. Mini Art continued the fast flow of variants of the Puma coming out with the release of the Stummel very soon. That's another one I could be tempted by. I've always fancied that. It's quite an interesting looking vehicle, but I've got a Puma, and when am I going to get to it? I don't know. So yeah, maybe not. We'll see if it's out in time for Telford and I'm there and I've got the money in my pocket and it's right in front of me. You never know. Gecko's new or soon to be released Otter has caught my eye. Again, it's unusual. It has a full interior as well, although I'm not sure whether we've got an engine included. But yeah, I'm not quite sure when the release date is for that, but certainly looks interesting and one to keep an eye out for, I think. Wooden model manufacturer Ockrey are soon to be releasing, or may have just released, the new Santa Maria beginners level kit. So it's quite an elementary kit, and it's dumbed down slightly, but the idea is that a beginner should be able to build it, and it does have a full set of sails and 3 masts, and you've got shrouds to do, so there is a fair amount of rigging to do. Yeah, could be interesting. Yeah, not for me, but yeah. Always interested in beginners models if they're done well. So I would recommend having a good look at that and seeing some reviews before you buy into it. So what's coming up in the week ahead? Well, on Monday we'll have the 3rd part in our wooden model shipbuilding for absolute beginners, where we'll be moving the build on, and in part 3 we get you to the point where you're about to start the first planking. So you'll have finished the frames, put the false deck in, stern counter, transom, and also also the gun put patterns as well. So yeah, quite a bit we cover off in that. It's a slightly shorter video than the others, but it's not a lot shorter, so I think it's 45-50 minutes, something like that. So yeah, that's Monday. Then on Wednesday we've got one of my birthday stash ads for review. So the second time we'll have reviewed a motorbike on the channel in as many months. So Friday's build will be the next part of the Scharnhorst, which I think is part 18 off the top of my head. I'm not quite sure what we're covering off in there, partly because I haven't edited that yet. So yeah, that's where we're going at this moment in time. If you don't see Scharnhorst, it's going to be the Bolt and Pull Defiant, but that's only if I've not got enough material, and I'm fairly sure I do. So yeah, that's our week ahead. Right then, in other news, probably the most important thing to talk about is that I have come to an arrangement with Vanguard Models here. So last week I was saying I have no association with them because one or two people had sort of indicated that they thought that was the case. The problem is with wooden kits is they're so much more expensive than plastic ones. It's difficult to review them. I'd like to review them all and then you could get a good comparison of them, but it's simply not possible. Anyway, I had a chat with Chris over email, and I suggested basically what I'd suggested to Matty a little while ago and said, look, you send me the kit, I'll film it, I'll send it back to you. You might have to do a little bit of repacking. And he's up for that. So I will be reviewing some of Vanguard kits that I won't actually be purchasing. So that means you get a great idea of what's in the box and can help you choose your kits. I can give you my view of them from my experience of multiple brands of wooden kits. And it doesn't cost the channel anything. So brilliant that we can do that. So when that starts, I don't know. What he's going to send me, I don't know. How that's going to work, I don't know. But yeah, that's what we've sort of agreed to do. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, that works for me because that means I've got some video content to share with you. And it works for you because you get to get a good look around some kits that are quite expensive to buy. And it works for him because, you know, since I did the first episode of building the Sherborne for absolute beginners, his stock has gone from 30 to 0. So I must have sold some kits for him. So hopefully that'll get some more revenue for him, and just like, you know, revenue that I get goes into the channel to make more content, revenue he gets means that he can do more on his modelling front, and maybe you know, that's really helpful. So yeah, it's nice to support little one-man businesses when they're doing a quality job and they're very customer focused, which they are. So yeah, that's great news, and I'm looking forward to doing some of that. The other thing that's happening in the news is I'm going to have to start planning for Telford. So let's talk about Telford. I'm there for both days, so I'm staying over at one of the premier inns in the vicinity, not the closest one. That gets booked up fairly quickly and is silly money. Not saying I didn't pay silly money for my hotel. I paid more than I normally would for one night, I can tell you. But needs must. I mean, even if you book it a year in advance, it's sort of done. So my plan is to drive down on the Saturday morning. My priority is getting parked, so I will be there early. I've got my tickets because I didn't renew my membership this year. I might renew my membership next year so I can get in for free, but we will see. So yeah, I've got my tickets. So we'll go down on the Saturday, and on that Saturday is a shopping day. So it's buying kits and products and bits and pieces that you'll all end up seeing on here anyway, and we'll review and talk about and what have you. So I've not got anything specifically in mind in the way of kits at the moment. I have a little pot of money for the channel to spend, but I want to have a look at some different products and particularly and tools, if there is anything that looks like it's worth having a play with. So yeah, we'll do that on the Saturday at 2 o'clock near the Airfix stand. So those of you that have been before know that Airfix always have this sort of corner spot right near the pasties and coffee. Not saying that it's linked, but the great bit about that is there is a bit more floor space in that area because they have the little building section set up opposite it, and well, last year they had an armoured car there as well. But I believe this year there's a bit of a reveal going on, so that'll be interesting as well. So that's what someone told me, but that didn't come from Airfix. So I don't know, we will see. But yeah, so in that area, 2 o'clock, I'll be saying hello to anyone who wants to. It means you don't have to be looking out for me. If you're in there and you want to say hello and what have you, you know, it's always nice to meet you and have a chat. It means that you don't have to be looking out for me, and it also means that I can get my head down and just crack on with what I'm doing. And then at 2 o'clock, I'll be there, and you can come and say hello, and we can have a chat and see what you've been buying, and you can see what I've been buying and all that sort of good stuff. And then we can all go down in a mob to the Airfix stand and say, why haven't you done any model ships this year? And mob them. I think that would be a good plan. We might not do that last bit. So yeah, that's the plan, and then I'll potter off when I've finished having a walk round, go back to the hotel. Sunday I'll be there again, and this time I'm going to be filming and photographing. So I'll be taking my camcorder and filming the show and all the various stands and models on show, and taking some photographs so that I can do a visit to Telford video. It'll feel a bit different this year because I'm going on my own. I won't have one of my daughters with me, so I've got no one to hold the camera and film me, so I won't be able to do anything like that. But you know, we'll work something out and make it presentable. So that's the plan, and then Sunday I can just shoot when I'm happy that I've filmed everything and I've got everything in. I can just shoot. So doing it over the 2 days means it can be a lot more leisurely, and I'm not rushing around trying to do it all in one go. And I don't miss things and that sort of stuff. And you know, I might talk to one or two of the stands and say, look, you know, are you interested in sharing your stuff on a YouTube channel? I did that last year, and at the time everyone at the show said yeah, and then afterwards no one was answering their emails. But now I have 10k subscribers. That might be different. We will see. But you know, it's good to get out there. I will have my model kit stuff hoodie on, so you won't it won't be a case of, is that him or is it not him, or is it someone that looks like him? It'll clearly be me because I'll have my model kit stuff hoodie on. I don't think there's many people have those hoodies. I have sold one or two. Cups I sell the most of, and have sold some aprons, but I have sold t-shirts and hoodies. I'm gonna probably refresh the designs on them at some point, but it's all time, isn't it? But yeah, so I've got to come up with a shopping list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to one or two of my favourite shops and go, right, okay, what would I be interested in? And then I'm going to go around all my consumables and go, what do I need? So I know I need new CA gel, for example, so I'll put that on the list. And I don't tend to buy these sort of things now because I can buy them there without shipping. And if I can't get them, I can quickly buy them when I get back. So yeah, that's the plan. So now you know. On the Sunday, I'll also be doing a meet and greet at 2 o'clock. So if you're only there on the Sunday or only there on the Saturday, you've got an opportunity to catch up with me. But here's the most important thing. On both of those days at the 2 o'clock, I will be giving away a model kit. So this is to celebrate November is 4 years of the channel. So I'm going to be giving away a model kit on both of those days. I'll be taking it with me, and at 2 o'clock I'll be giving it away. So you need to be going to Telford, and you need to be going to go and meet me at 2 o'clock to be in to get the kit. So let's talk about that. If you're going to Telford on either the Saturday or the Sunday, and you're going to be bobbing along at 2 o'clock, be at the Airfix stand, then you can put yourself in for a draw for a free kit. Okay, both the kits are Airfix kits. They're both recent releases. They're not classic re-releases or anything like that. So I'll be giving one away on the Saturday at 2 o'clock and one away on the Sunday. Well, not exactly at 2 o'clock. We'll give people 10 minutes to Miranda, and I'll already know who has got that kit, because what I want you to do is to drop me an email, modelkitstuff@gmail.com, and say, I'm at Telford on Saturday, and that's it. I'll put your name in the draw. So you need to say that you're going to be on Telford what day, Saturday or Sunday, because there's two different draws, one for each day. And I need your name, not just your first name, because there might be more Johns than you imagine, all being there at 2 o'clock. So yeah, give me your full name, not your handle on YouTube, your actual name, because what I'll do is at sort of 2:15 or something like that, I'll go, right, here's such and such here, here's your free kit from your draw, and you will see, and everyone else who's there will be able to see what you got. So if you want to be in with the chance of walking away from Telford with a kit in addition to the stuff you're going to buy, and it costs you nothing, then you need to drop me an email. We'll talk about it again next week. So modelkitstuff@gmail.com, name, which day you're going to be there, and I'll see you at Telford. That'd be great. Right then, I think that is it for other stuff. Okay, special people, I have some big thank yous to make this week. So David Price, thank you very much for your contribution to the channel, greatly appreciated. David Evans, your contribution to the Telford Fund, very appreciated. Thank you very much, sir. Dominic Beeler, thank you very much, Dom. Always appreciated, mate, you know that. And the same goes for you, Lee Fennell. Donations, they go such a long way to helping me get stuff in that we can put through the channel. Next year's already looking quite healthy on that front. Thanks to the loan of some kits for first impressions, we've got quite a healthy start to next year. Plus we're going to get some stuff at Telford. So there's plenty of stuff coming up, and it's all thanks to you guys. Okay, one or two channels that are worth a mention. Some of these I might not have mentioned before, but there's one or two channels that I watch, and so I think if I share those with you, you can go along and see if they work for you as well. Not all of them are modelling channels, you know. I don't just watch modelling stuff, but I guess most of us probably have come across this channel at some point. It's Model Minutes. It's a much bigger channel than me, but he's building the fairy rotodyne that I built last year or the year before, whenever it was. which obviously Airfix re-released as a classic kit. He's quite Airfix heavy, so if you like Airfix stuff, definitely a channel worth visiting. So yeah, a nice little channel, definitely worth checking out if you haven't done so already. Now this is an interesting channel. I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right. Karum Bakvarov, I think, underwater ship archaeologist. Has some really interesting content on here, but also does some wooden ship modelling as well, and talks about some books and stuff. But yeah, based out of the USA. Quite an interesting channel. I've been having a bit of a plough around it over the last couple of months. So yeah, only a small channel in terms of subscribers. So and he's got about 80 videos, so fairly new. Started 2 years ago. So worth going along and having a look at some of the videos. You might find them interesting if you're into your wooden model ships or getting into them. And Go For It Painting is a subscriber of mine, has a channel, does a lot of coverage of model shows, which is always interesting to see what's out there. So Daniel, nice chap, has a nice little channel, so always worth going over and having a peek. And he puts videos out fairly regularly. What he tends to do is break the shows down a little bit and focus on different parts of it. But they're nicely presented videos actually, so worth having a quick look if you've not seen Go For It Painting before. Well, I think that is it for this week. I hope you have a great week and that you enjoy your modelling time. I will be back next week when we'll be talking a little bit more about what I've got on my list of things to try and get hold of at Telford. And yeah, let's see what the week brings up. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.